got the fire flow. Shorty getting down, going up the fire pole. Radical, intermittent where we mad cold. I got the bullfrog flow, you a tadpole. Feel the love, feel the rush, feel the buzz, let it brush ya. Bald eagle clutch.
Welcome to someone's favorite movie. We're coming to you from the Pod Shack outside beautiful Flint, Michigan, USA. My name is Randy, and with me is my special guest, ladies and gentlemen, from the brand spanking new Flummoxed podcast. He's a cake eater of the highest order. His name is Matty F. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause.
Thanks, man.
You're
great
welcome.
To be here. It's great to be here in my house.
Yeah, and the audience is like cheering right now and clapping and stuff. They're really
thunderous applause.
There's a bunch of woot girls, you know. They're going woo, you know, like they do.
The crowd's going wild.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
They're acting like they've seen like Post Malone right now.
I did just get a bunch of face tattoos, so
that's awesome. What do they say? I wonder.
They told me it says like peace. I'm not sure.
Oh, was it one of those deals? See, same thing happened to me when I was like 25 in college. I fell asleep, and my friends thought it would be a hilarious practical joke to tattoo douchebag right across my forehead. Isn't that hilarious?
They straight up tattooed it?
Well, you know, one of them was a starving tattoo artist. He had to practice his craft. And I had a big old blank canvas in my forehead there because I've got a big old forehead, you see? So, yeah.
Yeah, don't ever fall asleep anywhere. That's the moral of the story.
Don't ever sleep. Always stay awake.
Stay on that grind, dude.
Stay on the grind. Like, didn't you ever see the Nightmare on Elm Street movies? Don't fall asleep. That's the moral.
Serious business.
Yeah. Did you ever see the Nightmare on Elm Street movies?
Probably. I don't know, man. I was kind of a sheltered kid and a little bit of a scaredy cat.
You sound like kind of a wussy butt right now, too. You need to open up the archives and watch some Nightmare on Elm Street. Live a little.
I do. Maybe I'll do that just for you.
Thank you.
And weasel my way back onto your show.
Thanks. I that would be great. I think. Well, I don't know. We'll see how this one goes. I don't appreciate you inviting yourself back on already. What is this?
I don't know, man. It's great to be here on my show. Permanent co-host.
Oh boy, look at this. Sorry, Tomko, you've been replaced. I think you and Tomko can duel to the death and see who wins.
I'm cool with that.
Cool. Fine.
Pistols at dawn.
All right. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen a good gun duel at dawn. You know, it's been a fortnight at least. Hey, you have this podcast. It's called Flummoxed, which is like the hoobastank of podcast names.
Yeah, it's really good SEO.
Yeah, it is. Like, I can't tell you how many times I Google Flummoxed on a daily basis, and oh shit, there's your podcast. I'm like, oh boy, that's great branding.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that when you tell somebody what it is, you have to like tell them a couple more times because it doesn't sound like a real word. Just on its own.
I'm not convinced it is a real word. Is it?
I was going with bewildered at first, but I don't know.
Oh, that would have been better, I think. You need to scrap everything you're doing and change it to bewildered.
Start over.
Yeah. I'm flummoxed that you were bewildered about the name of your podcast, sir.
It's a real $2 word.
Yeah, it is. This is your second podcast. You know, the first tried to be Miserable Retail Slave Jr., and this one is trying to be just straight up Miserable Retail Slave. So I just got to ask you, what gives?
I have never had an original thought in my life.
Okay.
That does come up a lot, too. I'll name drop you a lot for some reason.
I know, because I'm your inspiration, and God damn it, your hero, too.
That's true. I also apologize to my co-host, Garrett, every time I talk about retail. And it's almost like I'm apologizing to you because I'm stealing your bit.
That's right. However, if you listen to the award-winning last episode of Miserable Retail Slave, I am a miserable retail slave no more. Matty F used to be my cohort. I was going to say, I guess. I meant to say co-worker because words are hard. I got all tripped up by Flummoxed, you see. He used to be my coworker at the retail paradise that gainfully employed me. And now we're just pals, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Are we friends now?
Well, listen. I've been over your house.
That's true.
I've put pee in your toilet. If that's not...
That was weird. I don't know why you did that.
Well, I had to go real bad. It was either there or your front porch. So
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
there's not many places in this world there's not many houses, I should say, in the last 15 years that I've put pee in their toilets. So you should feel honored.
I think I'm going to get that framed, put it above the toilet when we remodel.
You might
Randy Pete here.
Yeah, you might want to bronze that toilet, save it for a rainy day. Does your former co-host think you're a chump because you have a new podcast? Does he leave you various and insulting 1-star reviews on Apple Podcast?
No, we don't have any. And if you do leave a review, please don't leave a 1-star review.
Okay. Do you even?
I think he's okay with it.
Oh, do you even talk to him anymore?
We do sometimes.
Oh, sometimes you went your separate ways. Holy cow, you grew apart because life does that sometimes.
Yeah, we got in a huge fight and we just hate each other now.
I just knew that. I knew that was the case.
Get some controversy going.
Classic VH1 behind the music right there. The band.
The shortest episode ever.
We put out 10 episodes. We got in a fight. Then it was over.
We both kind of just went, let's just put this on hold.
Yeah. Matty F, you have one of those little baby children that all the folks at home have read so much about?
I do.
Yeah. And you told me earlier that you were the time you'd be available and you wanted to make sure that little blessed angel gets to bed safely and snugly. And so when it was time, I'm like, I'm ready whenever you are, no rush. You sent me back this message that I just couldn't believe. You said, okay, I just put her down. I just wanted to make sure it stuck. You devious cad. That sounds like something sinister is afoot, you know?
Yeah, I glued her to the bed.
I knew it. I don't trust a Matt at all. You can never trust a Matt, folks. It's just, it's less a name and more something you walk all over. Am I right?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I've never heard that one before.
You're welcome, Matt. See what I did there, folks? Welcome, Matt. I'm great.
Oh, comedy.
Sick burn. Tonight, folks, not only are you treated to our witty banter, but also so much banter, so little time, but also we are covering in its entirety. That was a hard word to say too. In its entirety, the Mighty Ducks franchise.
From front to back.
From front to back.
Pillar to post.
Cover to cover. Matthew, was your heart suitably warmed after watching the first film? Did you believe dreams could and should come true?
Okay. Yes. I want to say it was fine. It's kind of funny. What I read on Wikipedia is they said they were surprised by the success of it.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's got enough heartwarming moments where I felt good at the end.
Oh, your heart grew 3 sizes this day.
That's right.
They named a fucking professional hockey franchise after these movies. That's crazy.
Yes. Disney had an ownership stake in an expansion NHL team and named it after their movie trilogy that they were surprised by the success of.
That's bananas. It would be like if some MLB team in Canada or something decided to name their expansion club the Bad News Bears. You think it's ridiculous, but this is just as equally odd. And by the way, while you're at it, why not have an animated series starring the Bad News Bears? How do you think your hockey club will feel about that?
It's interesting because I don't know if you noticed, but the NHL just put out their reverse retro jerseys.
Okay.
And the Anaheim Ducks jersey is a cartoon Wild Wing on it. It is the character from the animated show.
That's so
on one of their official jerseys.
Stupid. Did you buy one?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to buy that one. I give them credit for it.
Yeah.
They did a decent job.
I am going to release this bombshell. The fucking logo for the Mighty Ducks is thebomb.com. That thing's awesome. I've always liked that ever since I was a kid. I never got a jersey. I probably should have gotten it. I fell out of love with hockey. We had a brief and torrid, passionate affair, but I haven't been following it in quite some time. Do they still have the same logo? The duck-shaped goalie mask?
Sometimes. They switched up their color scheme probably like around 2008, I think. They just went to like black and orange, and it just said ducks, so it's just like a D now.
Lame.
But, yeah, they still wear the duck goalie mask as kind of like an alternate from time to time.
But
so it's not the main logo anymore.
That's perfect branding and quite awesome, and it stood out from anything else in the NHL, and you shat all over it with your big old D.
Yep.
Sucks. The Mighty Ducks came at a time in the 90s when sports movies were a constant in the movie theaters. But not just any kind of sports movie was a constant in the movie theaters. I swear to God, there was just an onslaught of sports movies aimed at families and the younger crowd. And they were all underdog stories aimed at that segment of the human population that often feels the most misunderstood and uncertain, the preteen crowd. Mm-hmm. Or unless you're Matty F, the 30-something crowd.
Yep. It still gets to me, apparently.
Yeah. Adjacent to the Mighty Ducks movies at the time were movies like Angels in the Outfield, Rookie of the Year, Cool Runnings, Air Bud, The Sandlot, Little Giants, The Big Green, Iron Will, Ladybugs. Rah, 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 rah. So much heartwarmingness.
Wow, you weren't kidding.
Yeah. I mean, this was the era of entertainment, Matty F, where kids ruled and grown-ups drooled. Do you remember this time in your life? Every single movie seemed to have some sort of spunky teenage protagonist with attitude, and adults were basically too stupid to function rationally, while kids held all the answers, and they were really the true righteous forces in this society.
Yeah, it's a true coming-of-age tale in different flavors.
Yeah, I mean...
And with different animals.
And with different... and also in this subset of movies... along with the virtuous, righteous kids, there was always a small subset of the population that were skeevy bullies, usually with mullets, who would always grimace and growl. And then the smaller kids would foil the bullies' buffoonish plots. And usually this was by some clever prank. And when the bully was fully pranked and shown to be such an incredibly dismal oaf, the good kids would pump their fists in the air and shout, "Yeah!" and "All right!" Which happens in the Mighty Duck trilogy.
Several times.
The
most cartoonish bullies.
Yes.
Like action hero, cartoon villains.
Yeah.
All rolled into one.
Yeah. Now, when I think of the Mighty Ducks, I don't really think too hard about how the fucking concept came into being. You know, you think of the Mighty Ducks and think it's just this fully formed thing that sprang out of the Disney head, like Athena from Zeus's skull. Yeah, that's a real reference. Look it up, kids. Reference. Yeah. But that's not the case. The Mighty Ducks came from a man named Steve Brill, who was a writer living in Culver City. He shared an apartment with a man named Pete Berg, who later went on to direct Friday Night Lights. And this was from an oral history of the Mighty Ducks trilogy that Time magazine, of all places, decided to throw together a few years ago. This was Steve Brill on how he came up with the Mighty Ducks. He said, "I was living in Culver City in an apartment with Peter Berg, the director. We were unemployed. He was an actor. I was a writer. We had nowhere to go to spend our days without much money. There was a rink near our house, and we would go skating there most days of the week. Spend $4, I think you could skate all day." And Pete Berg said, Steve would write sort of hunched over. He would sleep in, as I recall, till about 1 with his pillow wrapped around his face in a very odd way that sometimes made me think that he had in fact died during his sleep because of the way he would choke himself with the pillow. I would check on him periodically. He would scream at me to get out of the room. He would then get up, pour a cup of coffee, and go back to his desk, which was right by his bed. My memories are of Steve hunched over his computer in his underwear with his hair sticking straight up, drinking coffee, writing the Mighty Ducks, cackling. And then every once in a while he would read me scenes. There was our friend Joe who lived on the couch. He'd read Joe's scenes and we would all comment. And he would kind of listen to us and then kind of mutter and go back into his room and keep writing. Matty F, the moral of this story is all those losers you're making fun of in your life right now, they're secret geniuses writing the next Mighty Ducks.
That could be me.
It could be you. I could see you muttering and, ranting and. You got a movie idea in your head there?
No, but I do. I'm glad you shared that because that does make me think. There are, for as cornball and as goofy as these movies can be, there are enough scenes where I can picture someone like really caring about what they're writing. There's enough there where it doesn't feel like a movie that would just kind of like plopped out to make money.
This is true. Yeah, there's several scenes that are really quite good, and then there's like scenes at the beginning of the movie, we're introduced to our ragtag bunch of misfits, and they're really just this like group of street urchins living on the roads, getting into trouble, and their hobby seems to be making dogs poop and then putting that poop in a purse with a dollar bill sticking out and waiting for someone to pick it up. And this scene's like right at the beginning of the movie. And this guy, of course, picks it up, sees the dog shit in the purse, and then chases after him. And it's
they make the mistake of standing in the middle of the road, pointing and laughing at him.
Yeah, and then the chase is like a slapstick comedy. It's so stupid and completely out of place from the rest of the movie.
And sped up.
Yeah.
like 1.5 speed.
Yeah, all you need...
Benny Hill.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. All you needed was the theme from Benny Hill playing, and you get the idea. I'm like, that's stupid. Steve Brill said that his initial draft that he wrote in that apartment was a much darker product. He said it wasn't a Disney movie. There weren't murders or anything, but there was some adult romance and a lot of hockey. That was always the key thing. As far as dark humor, there was always that DUI at the beginning, and I don't think that would hold up right now in a Disney movie. Then
Yes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you can comment on that.
I was going to say, I did notice that, the DUI scene. I can see how they would have written that a little darker, and it seems like they were aware of that. They wanted it to be, obvious to children that what he was doing was wrong.
Yeah.
So they kind of wrote it very on the nose, where he is literally drinking and driving.
Sure.
And he doesn't actually kill anyone or cause severe damage. So
no, he's just kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
However, if you're a kid watching this and you see him get in trouble for that DUI, do you think that's a real punishment, what happened to him? Because his boss basically says, you know what? You're working too hard. I'm going to settle this case for you. You're not going to go to jail or suffer a fine or deal with the indignity of going through a long, drawn-out trial for a DUI. I'm going to make it go away. I'm not going to fire you either. I just think you've been working too hard. So I'm going to pay you. You need a break. I'm going to pay you to stay on staff. And also I'm going to give you a private driver because, you need to get around places. Jesus Christ, sign me up for a DUI. That seems like the sweet life.
Yeah, he really doesn't lose all that much. Most of the conflict early on is him just being in love with work and wanting to get back to that. He doesn't really lose much.
Yeah.
Financially or his freedom at all.
To go back to Brill's quote, he says, then in the movie there are sort of having sex with your mother jokes in there and flatulence jokes, and guys are getting hit in the nuts. Which I'm surprised the hitting in the nuts and the flatulence jokes didn't stay. Even for Disney at that time, I don't think that was too far.
Well, Goldberg farted in the limo.
Oh, that's true. So I guess one made it through. One squeaked out. I think the producer, Jordan Kerner, had a mandate to, when the studio says it's got to be funnier, make it a little broader in some parts. So you have a mix of very serious, character-driven story and then broad humor. So this is what we get. The Mighty Ducks. Brill says he thinks that Wayne Gretzky getting traded to the Kings right before he... Oh, my God. Brill says he thinks when Wayne Gretzky got traded to the Kings, that helped his screenplay sell because he was writing it in 1987 and trying to sell it around 1988, 1989. And when Gretzky got traded, Los Angeles was in a Gretzky fever. Do kids today know who Wayne Gretzky is? Do they know what hockey is even?
I honestly, kids probably not. It is weird to think about that because I remember when Wayne Gretzky retired, and that was, God, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that.
No, I think you're right. I think it was 20, 21 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 99 or something.
Yeah, I remember watching that game with my mom. For whatever reason, it was just me and my mom, and we were in the living room, and it was on like a Fox afternoon game, and Gretzky did his final skate around the rink, and he had tears in his eyes, obviously. And my mom just broke down crying, and she wasn't even a hockey fan or anything. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? She's like, you don't understand. I'm like, oh, I guess I don't. So that was the thing that happened. Yeah,
he was just bigger than hockey. Like you said, people who didn't even know hockey knew how amazing he was. So yeah, and especially when he got traded to LA, that would, like you said, that was really big for LA because it was kind of like having a movie star in town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the Michael Jordan of the Michael Jordan of hockey. Like you could easily do a last dance with Wayne Gretzky, I think.
Oh, that'd be nice.
It would be nice.
I think there's like a 30 for 30 about the day he was traded. That's a pretty good.
Oh yeah,
pretty good watch.
Wayne Gretzky, for kids that don't know, one season he scored 92 goals, which there's only 82 games in the season. That's fucking amazing. The closest to ever come to it was Teemu Selanne, who scored like 76, and he became a mighty duck in real life. So there you go.
Full circle.
Full circle, baby. That's what we do. The movie starts, the Mighty Ducks does, with young Gordon Bombay, played by Emilio Estevez. We already talked about his DUI, but we see his youth on a Pee Wee Hockey League, and he's given the task of taking the final shot of the game, the pivotal penalty shot that'll win the entire game in the state championship, and he'll go down in glory. And the coach looks at him and says, if you miss this shot, you're not only letting me down, you're letting this whole team down too. Which is quite a different variation on the old Wayne Gretzky and also Michael Scott quote that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Not as inspiring.
Yeah, I think he would have been better off with that quote.
Probably. The thing I love about this scene is if you watch, the goalie that he's up against is wearing an old school hockey mask, but it looks like it's slightly modified to look like a skull.
Oh, wow. I didn't even notice that.
The eyes are darkened in, and there's like a nose socket where the nose should be. Because this is a nightmare.
Is this symbolic?
Is this This is the death of your life.
You're facing your own mortality at 10 years old.
This is the peak of your life, and it goes downhill from there.
What I like about that scene is how the goalie celebrates after Gordon misses the shot like he did anything. And the game wasn't even over yet, but he's like, yeah, guys, I did it.
Yeah, the shot goes off the post. He didn't even touch it, the goalie. You ever miss your shot and let the whole team down, Matty F?
Probably metaphorically in my life, but...
What about symbolically?
Symbolically. I did play roller hockey when I was 12.
Of course you did. I really can see you grinding down the street on some blades with like a big headband holding back your big floppy hair.
That's right. You got me pegged.
Were you a good skater? Do you still skate? Do you have rollerblades? Do you still skate around in rollerblades? Are you the guy that everyone points at and says, oh my God, is he riding around on rollerblades?
Put on my short shorts and my sunglasses and go around the block a couple times.
It's the only way to do it.
Skate backwards over around some cones.
Yeah, really show off those moves. You're just jelly of my blading skills.
That's right.
I mean, this was a pivotal moment in young Gordon Bombay's life. It transformed him into a Reaganomics worshiping hotshot arrogant whose only gods were wealth and success. You know, he was going to be the kingpin of Minneapolis, Minnesota. He was never going to lose again. So much so he becomes a high-powered lawyer, keeps his own statistics. That's how he gets a DUI. He's celebrating his 30th win as a lawyer. 30-0, he says. He gets into his stupid, expensive, fast car with the license plate that says, just win.
Yep. Really on the nose.
Douche.
These are my motivations.
Yes.
This is my character.
This is who I am. I'm like Gordon Gekko in Wall Street, but tamed down for a PG audience. Do you understand? His boss is Mr. Ducksworth. Yeah, that's right. I didn't remember that from when I was a kid, that his boss was Mr. Ducksworth. Also didn't remember that Mr. Ducksworth looks like Uncle Scrooge from DuckTales in human form. I didn't remember that either. But he does. And it's great. So he gets all the perks we discussed earlier, and he's put in charge of a Pee Wee hockey league, which is his own personal hell because it's like he's facing his greatest failure.
Yeah, and he hates hockey and he hates kids. So,
I mean, it's like, what are you gonna do? So this group of kids, one of them is named Averman. And and he's a blonde-haired kid with glasses. And that was me as a kid. I hated all these movies with smart-ass blonde-haired kids with glasses because that was me. And I hated when movies like this were shown in the goddamn classroom because everyone would always look at me because that was me on the screen, being a stupid ass.
Did you talk like Pauly Shore all the time?
I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because that's like, he's the worst part of the first movie.
He is.
The way he talks.
Matarino, Matafari, Matarati. Going to town, talking on that microphone. Podcaster Rooney. All right.
So bad.
It's very bad. And he reminds me of that character that Rob Schneider played in SNL. You may be a bit too young for Saturday Night Live there, Matt. You might not remember the old Rob Schneider on that SNL, old Deuce Bigelow himself. But he used to have a character on there that was making copies.
Making copies. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't look it up, but I'm really curious as to which came first, the Schneider or the egg. I mean, did Averman copy the copy, man?
He had to have.
I would think.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up. You talk. Tell me about this. Tell me about the other kids in this misfit ragtag group.
Goldberg is the goalie.
It's not Bill Goldberg.
I wish it was.
Wouldn't that
be great?
It would be great.
6'2" Bill Goldberg
as a 12-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah. Goldberg's moving back to Philadelphia next year, which
never happens.
Never happens. We have Jussie Smollett. Don't know what his character's name is. That's the thing. Beyond like Charlie and Goldberg and Averman, they're not all that memorable to me. There's Guy. Guy's in there. He's in the first movie, I think. Connie's the girl.
Connie is the girl.
Connie's the girl.
Is
Guy in the first movie? I don't know.
I don't know. Connie the Velvet Hammer. Hey girl, hey. Speaking of Connie, because you brought her up, I found this delicious quote, and I really want to speculate immediately.
Okay.
Let me make noises while I find it.
Beatbox for me. Boots and cats.
She said in the same oral history I quoted from earlier, the whole experience of making the Mighty Ducks films, she's in all three, the whole experience was a big deal because during the first one, I was a 14-year-old girl, and I mean, I cannot confirm or deny that I may have kissed 2 or 3 or maybe even 5 of them. I was 15. It was a very exciting time for me. Very exciting. I mean, it's a very flattering attention for a little while, you know? Let's speculate. Which 5?
She's not talking about Emilio, is she? Or
Oh, let's start that rumor. Which 5 of those boys did she kiss? I mean,
Charlie.
good old Joshua Jackson probably got a smooch, yeah.
Averman, definitely.
You think he did? Smoocherina, making out, getting that tongue. All right.
Yeah, because like everyone else seems way younger than them. You know what I mean? Maybe just because they're shorter.
Yeah, maybe so. That could be. Yeah, I doubt Goldberg was getting smooched on. So I think maybe the dude that played her boyfriend in the series that nobody knows his name and nobody cares about.
Isn't that Guy?
Is that Guy?
I think it's Guy.
Who can care? I mean, quite honestly. And yes, actually, Rob Schneider's character, the Rich Meister, making copy guy, first appeared in 1991, which is before the Mighty Ducks. So yes, Averman was copying.
Yep.
The copy.
They said,
man.
We'll take that.
We'll take that. Well, that's ours now. We own
and
that.
Then we will abandon it for the next 2 movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was probably a great move on their part.
Yes.
But at the same time, then Averman had no character other than with dropping a witty one-liner every now and then. And when I say witty, I have that in extreme finger quotes because, you know. Yeah, I think Jussie Smollett played a character named Jesse or something.
I think so, yeah.
He was that other guy's brother who was in 2 of the movies, and I don't even know his name. So
I think his name was Tyler?
No, Tyler was Kenan Thompson.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can pull up the fucking... What are we, amateurs here? What do we not have the world's information at our fingertips? I can look up the fucking name of the kid.
No, I think it's more entertaining for the fans if we just kind of sit here and go,
Yeah, let's just fucking speculate, shall we? Well,
De Niro might have been in it. I don't know.
Yeah, I was completely wrong. Jussie Smollett's character was Terry, which
okay.
I don't remember that being a thing ever. Oh, you know what? His brother was Jesse. That's where I got it from. So
okay.
His brother was significantly cooler. And
yes.
You all remember Jussie Smollett from that time he hired somebody to whoop his ass. And
yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah. He hired somebody to whoop his ass and to try to further some agenda that nobody can quite figure out. But that's him. Yeah, who else? We have Joshua Jackson played Charlie Conway. You know him as Pacey from Dawson's Creek. You ever watch The Creek?
No.
Oh, my God.
No.
Get with it.
Should I do a Dawson's Creek rewatch podcast?
I don't want to wait. So, God damn it. I'm awful today.
That's a winner.
Yeah, it is. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. We have Fulton Reed, who has just the biggest shotgun of a slap shot you've ever seen.
But he can't hit the net, just like Teemu Pulkkinen.
Yeah, topic. He's going to fight you. He's going to pull your shirt over your head and fight you for that.
Who, Fulton or Teemu Pulkkinen? Which one?
Teemu Pulkkinen.
I think I got a shot. I think I can take him.
You think so? He's got a much cooler name than you, though. So
that is true.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got this outlandish. He just murders people with that slap shot.
Shoots into the road.
He shoots into the road as you do. In games, he can pretty much destroy a goalie, knock him straight back into that net and back into the boards. And
you ever play Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey?
Yeah.
Nintendo 64?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when you would hold Z and A to do a power shot, and it would put the goalie right through the net and light him on fire.
Right.
He can do that.
Yeah, exactly. There was also a game when I was growing up that me and my cousin Paul used to play all the time called World Cup hockey, or World Cup soccer. And every time you did a bicycle kick, you would do a special move. So your teammate would pass it to you, you'd do a bicycle kick at the right time, and it would fucking shoot on fire or bounce around and knuckle puck all over the place.
Did you say that was for NES?
Yeah.
That's I think that's the one that was made by the same people who made Super Dodgeball.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, that game was awesome.
It was great.
Somebody should have made that into a franchise.
Absolutely. Like the soccer game and the dodgeball game.
Let's do it.
I want simple video games.
Yes.
I don't need a licensed game. Just make up characters. I don't care.
I don't need fully 3D rendered. Give me approximately 8 bits and go.
Yeah. Somewhere between 8 and 16, I'm fine.
Okay. Wow, you're really asking for a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this guy wanting between 8 and 16.
I want what I want.
Yeah, you do. Well, Emilio, he doesn't really know how to deal with this bunch, and not sure he wants to deal with this bunch. But Charlie's got a hot mom, so here we go. All bets are off.
Yeah, I don't want to armchair book this movie.
Okay.
But I kind of wish that he had hit Charlie's mom's car on his drunken soiree.
Oh, that would have been good.
I think that would have been a good conflict. Because there's not much for him to overcome. It's just kind of like he hangs out around Charlie and his mom for a while, and then things happen. So I don't know. I think that would have been funny if she was like, wait, you?
I mean, I'm sure I can find Steve Brill on Twitter. We can fire off a tweet right now on how to improve his movie. Maybe for the director's cut.
Hit up Steve Brill. They're doing a reunion, so maybe they can retcon it.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, we'll touch on that at the end.
We've got more to say about that little relationship.
Yeah. So obviously, these kids are no good. Their old coach had a heart attack.
He hurt his arm.
Yeah. And Charlie's mom goes apeshit on Emilio because he thought it'd be real cool to let all the kids pile into his expensive limo and drive around on the ice. And she's having none of it because you're letting my son drive around on ice? What are you, mad?
Yeah, she lives in Minnesota. She should know. That's no big deal. I think you take part of your driving test on the ice in Minnesota. You're good.
From everything I hear about Minneapolis, yeah, it's pretty much a wasteland. So,
yeah. So many lakes, so little time.
Mm-hmm. The very first game, as luck would have it, conveniently, the fates were aligned. Plot contrivance. He plays his old team, the Hawks, the one that he played on as a youth, and sure enough, his old coach is still coaching that team. And
that's either. I mean, I'm sure it's interesting for the plot, but it's also kind of sad.
It's very sad. My favorite part.
Still there.
Yeah, my favorite part is his old coach, berates him about how he was a never was and a never will be, and I'm like, dude, you are 57 years old, still coaching a peewee hockey team. As far as I can tell, I don't know your life. I don't know your life, man. You might have a great home life. But this seems to be your entire reason for being this peewee hockey club. By the way, that loser is a rich asshole lawyer driving around in a limousine all day and banging his players' moms. So I think he's winning and you're losing, sir.
Yeah, and I get how big peewee hockey is in Minnesota. It's a big deal, but he didn't go anywhere. And you would think that Gordon would realize that. But he just regresses all the way back.
Well, yeah.
He just wants to win at all costs now.
He does want to, because that winning is everything in this universe. There's no participation trophies here, not at all.
Throw in an absent dad, and there you go.
And that is why old Charlie is called Spazway. The team has no faith in him. No faith. He is the Gordon Bombay surrogate. This is himself when he was a kid, because Charlie gets an open break in one of the first games, and he just whiffs on it, and that's how they call him Spazway, which is kind of rude,
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed more by the lack of Well, I want to say lack of creativity, but I don't know. I don't know what I would have wanted there. I mean, you don't really need to make it rhyme with his name. I guess he is a spaz, so.
I mean, they are like supposed to be 10 years old or something, even though they're all 15.
Right.
Let's be real. By the way,
and that's the scene where after he misses on the breakaway, good old Adam Banks just comes up right behind him and just staples him to the boards
right.
with a cross check, like trying to like paralyze him. No penalty.
No
It's all
penalty. Can we talk about Adam Banks?
Yes.
Adam Banks, what is your function? That's the first track off my Mighty Ducks concept album. Adam Banks, what is your function? Because you're always injured, you're soft, but everyone says you're the best hockey player, and I just haven't seen it. What's your trick move, bro? You got a special, bro?
You have a triple deke?
You got that triple deke? You got what? No knuckle puck. Oh, you even got a knuckle puck. You can't even have a shotgun slap shot? Bro, what do you even do other than whine and get hurt? Oh.
Yeah, a lot of them are like Overwatch champions or something. Like they all have their ultimate. Like,
yeah.
It's not like this kid's good at skating. This kid's good at scoring and passing or whatever. It's like, I've got a special shot that curves in the air. I don't know.
Yeah. But Adam Banks is in every movie, and I can't figure out why for the life of me. You bring nothing to the table, Banks. Eventually, Bombay tries to teach him his shady scumbag ways, his do whatever it takes courtroom winning style by diving and cheating in a game to draw penalties. And Charlie says, oh, no, because he's got more moral fiber than old Bombay there. He refuses to cheat. He's like, you can't make me cheat. I am about to teach you a life lesson, sir.
We might learn something from each other.
This is the very special episode part of this movie. You're about to look longingly into the distance while you figure your shit out there, Bombay.
Yeah, I don't know why he goes straight to diving. I guess he could have learned that from the Hawks coach back in the day, but that's some real cheap stuff there, Gordon.
Well, you get the impression that he's like a Better Call Saul lawyer. He's real sleazy and pretty much does whatever it takes. Because like at the beginning of the movie when you see him in the courtroom, his rival lawyer gets on him for defending a criminal, and he's like, you knew he was guilty and you defended him, blah, blah, blah. And Gordon Bombay says, well, it was your job to keep him out of jail. Drops the mic.
And he gets really upset about that, too.
I know. He does. But this does lead to a real character-driven moment. He goes to visit his old Zen Swiss master of skate sharpening, his old equipment guy that he used to hang around. Which I don't quite his sensei of skate. I don't know. This old dude that works at a skate shop, basically.
Yeah, Hans, the elder statesman of hockey.
I mean, he's going to be your Mr. Miyagi of the movie.
I love Hans. Hans is the best part of these movies.
You think so? You like a Hans?
I think, yeah, I think he's good for grounding things, you know?
Okay.
You know, I like this theme of like, hey man, this is what hockey's supposed to be, and this is how it relates to your life. And I'm not going to tell you exactly, but I'm going to lead you in that direction, and you can figure it out yourself.
That's funny. The character of Hans, says Peter Berg, was a real life person that him and Steve Brill, who wrote the movie, knew when they were skating around. Berg said, the character of Hans was based upon this kind of surly old guy, Hans, real creative guys, who worked at a skate shop in Culver. One day, Brill and I were skating, and Brill hit the boards at a bad angle and broke his leg, and he was writhing around on ice. Hans kind of came over and looked down at him, and Brill said, Hans, I think I broke my leg. And Hans paused and looked at him and said, well, that's your own personal problem, and walked away.
Oh, God.
I think that was a very formative moment for Brill when he wrote that character. I'll never forget that. I mean...
Where's that in the movie?
I mean, that would have been a much more entertaining character, right?
Figure it out, you little shit.
Yeah, that was the Hans that Steve Brill wished he knew in real life.
Soften him up a bit.
Yeah. So this leads to a touching scene where Hans says, "It's a shame you quit. You," and Emilio finishes the sentence, "could have went all the way." And Hans says, "No, really love to play." And the skate man says, "Teach those ducks. Teach them how to fly."
Mm.
And we also find out in the scene that Emilio wears a size 9. You're like, well, you small-footed man, you're just a little run, aren't you?
Wear thick socks.
Yeah, wear thick socks.
I don't know. That could be hockey sizes. I don't know if it's.
Wait a minute.
It's the same as regular shoe sizes, right?
What is this myth that hockey sizes are different than real life?
It's like the metric system, I don't know. You ever buy a pair of shoes and it says like UK 44 and you're like, what the hell is that?
Oh, geez. Goddamn Emilio Estevez walking around size 18 shoes in real life, but 9 in hockey size.
I do like how skating on the pond is kind of like the change of heart montage,
Yeah, that's how you center your chi.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lay in the snow, think about dad.
Yeah, do some snow
Remember that
angels.
dad's dead?
Yeah. He goes to Charlie's house after this touching scene and apologizes for being an ass. And his mom is like, "Oh, shoot, look at this man." And
Apologizing.
Yeah, and that begins the whole romance and stuff. And we get the team coming together. I really enjoy how there's a scene after the team buys all this brand new equipment where provided by Mr. Ducksworth, who they get their fucking name from, which is ridiculous, but okay.
Hey, got to get your sponsorship. You got to get your money's worth.
Yeah. They should have called themselves the Mighty Ducksworths.
That's nice.
That's a brand name if I ever heard one. There's this whole extended scene which was very popular in the movies of kids behaving badly but being cool because they're behaving badly. So they rollerblade around in the mall and commit all sorts of crimes and misdemeanors, knocking old people into fountains and shit, stealing food.
People's hats.
Yeah. I'm like, well, that poor old woman got knocked into that fountain. She's going to be talking about that for the next 3.5 weeks.
She wasn't an extra. She just happened to be there.
She was. She was like, this little shit knocked me into the fountain. I couldn't believe it. I just wanted to go to the In-N-Out burger, and this is what happens.
Yeah, I like how that's the way they teach Fulton to skate also. Let's just skate through the mall. Skate through a crowded mall.
And I read that Fulton actually could not skate in real life. So that's the whole reason he didn't skate in the movie. Like everyone... They had an intense boot camp for teaching skating and stuff, and he just never caught on. So they're like, "Oh, you just look big and do this."
Interesting.
The other thing I found out, which really blew my fucking mind, is that Averman is actually was a big kid and a big dude, and he initially read for the character of Fulton because he was a bigger guy, and they just sort of masked that. I never thought he was a big dude at all ever. So.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm very confused by this.
Yeah.
When you say big, do you mean like dummy thick? Like he's hard to knock over? Or do you mean like he's actually like 6'2" or something?
I don't know. He's probably 6'2" now, but he was a tall kid for his age. I don't know.
Was he on his knees the whole time? I don't understand because I don't see it.
Everyone else was standing on apple crates.
There you go.
Yeah.
Including Emilio.
Yeah, exactly. I got to chuckle out of seeing this Fulton Reed because he was in this Eldon Henson was in the Daredevil series on the Netflix there, where they started their own little Marvel corner of the universe for a while. He was Daredevil's best friend. I'm like, oh, that guy.
Yeah, I saw that on Wikipedia, but I've never watched it.
Well, that doesn't shock me. You don't like cool things.
I can't help there.
Okay, fine.
I'm going to say that I agree with you, and that's cool.
All right, I think so too. I think that's real cool. Yeah. Bombay pulls a dick move and steals Adam Banks because he's the best character. Steals him from the Hawks.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That whole device just confuses me.
It had no place in the movie whatsoever. Like it provided nothing at all.
I think what confuses me the most is they talk about how the districts were redrawn last year.
Yeah.
In some gerrymandering attempt, apparently. As if it's just a thing that happened, like, that nobody knew about. Because, like, obviously the Hawks would have known. They would have been part of it. They would have probably been part of the process. So why did they let it happen? Well, I don't know, man.
The thing I don't understand is because they call Adam Banks. They say Adam Banks lives in District 5, which is Mighty Ducks territory. And all these other kids are these fucking roughnecks, poverty-stricken, whatever, blue-collar homes. And they call him a cake eater, which is the ultimate cut down in this universe, at least for this movie.
Yeah.
Because he's apparently rich. He's a rich kid, and he lives in the rich part of town. So how the fuck is he in District 5 then?
Yeah, the only thing we hear from Hans is the lake is not the boundary anymore.
Yeah.
How big is this lake? It's like it's got to be such a stark difference on like one side of the street to the other. You know, like really rich houses and then just like dirt poor people.
It's got to be, right?
So it just makes me wonder, why did they redraw those lines?
All these other
there are other age groups. You know, I get that. Maybe that had something to do with it.
All these other kids are on the wrong side of the lake.
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't worry, folks. I actually looked it up. Cake Eater is an actual thing from Minneapolis. It is an authentic chunk of dialogue from the Minneapolis city. The term refers to Edina, Minnesota, affluent suburb. Residents in poorer neighborhoods closer to the city refer to folks from Edina as cake eaters due to their wealthy upbringings, stating that they can get their cake and eat it too. It's a slur against the cozy town that stands to this day. So there you go. That's based in fact. You're learning all
dialogue.
You're learning all sorts of pub trivia tonight, folks. I hope you're taking notes on your loose leaf notebook papers. What are you squeaking over there? Is that your duck call? What's happening?
That's my chair. I'm trying not to move.
Don't ever move again, goddammit. Yeah. So they get this Adam Banks, and the Bombay tries to rally the team together with quacks and whatnot, and Charlie tries to scam Bombay into falling in love with his mom, and then he cries quite a bit. Charlie likes to cry quite a bit. That's what I've discovered.
Yeah, he's very emotional throughout all of these movies.
Well, he's prepubescent, kind of.
I do like the scene where he says, she has many fine qualities that many men find attractive. He's just really, really pitching that idea right there.
I think he's the only young man in the history of the universe that tried to get his mom laid. Because I don't think that's a real thing that anyone's ever done. Hey, you should give my mom a throw. She's real fetching. Look at that lass.
Oh my God. Take her out for a night on the town.
Uh-huh. That's what he does. At Charlie's suggestion, that old dog takes that fine young lady on a date. Jordan Kerner, the producer of the movie, said, We were in the midst of filming the scene where there's a kiss between Emilio Estevez and Heidi Kling, who plays Josh's mom, in 55 degrees below zero in St. Paul.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's what happens in Minnesota. Subhuman temperatures. Like, what is that even? Why don't penguins live in Minnesota? I don't understand. But anyways.
Yeah, people shouldn't live there.
No. And when they kissed, their lips stuck together. We had to get makeup to grab warm water and put droplets on their lips so they could actually separate.
Oh, no.
That's great. I mean...
Worth it.
Yeah. That woman still talks about that to this day. It's her favorite party story. Hey, you guys, you're never going to believe this, but you remember Charlie Sheen's brother? One time my face got stuck to his face. It was awesome.
Remember Charlie Sheen's brother? Ouch.
Yeah.
President Bartlett's son, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Remember Tiger Blood winning? Emilio has a remarkable acting trick in this movie, however. He gets dorkier and dorkier as the movie progresses. It's like, I need to slip into dad mode now and be awkward as all get out as I learn my heartwarming lessons. He just gets dopier and dopier. There's that scene where they're on the skating rink, skating, the whole team, and they're like dragging Fulton around, and he slips and falls, and he just cracks up, and it's a doofiest laugh and smile on his face. Like,
you're talking about the scene where it's just like, hey guys, just skate around. We need 5 minutes.
Yeah, go have a good time.
Need to pad the runtime a bit.
Yeah, and that probably should have been a blooper, but they kept it in.
Yeah, he does kind of look like the mom that's trying to be cool, at the party.
Yep. Good old. I'm going to tweet Emilio Estevez and quote him that.
It's like me when I dab in front of my younger coworkers, and they're like, dude, shut the fuck up.
You've never done that ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I respected you, and now I don't.
You did not.
You're right. Busted.
Don't come here and lie.
I'm sorry. So of course they do great things, and Hans told him earlier that that they have a real shot, these Mighty Ducks, at the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because literally every team makes it except the bottom two, and the one team all has the measles, so they only have to tie one team to make the playoffs, basically.
The Panthers got measles.
Yep. So they make the playoffs and they do great things. And of course, they have to play the Hawks in the final because that's only fitting, right?
Yeah. It wouldn't make sense if they had to play just some random team. You guys have the Jets this week.
Yeah.
The Hawks lost in the other round.
Yeah. You're never going to see that guy again.
How lucky for us.
Yeah. Well, gee, I really thought I was going to give it to him, but I guess, I mean, in all this time, he's been bonding the Ducks. By the way, the Mighty Ducks jerseys in this movie, I guess I had sort of a Mandela effect, and I swore they wore the awesome-ass jerseys in this movie, and they don't. They have this, granddad duck drawn on there. Yeah,
the green with the purple stripes.
The worst logo I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. That one's not great.
It's not great at all. But old Bombay's been rallying the team with his quack, rallying cries and telling them that the duck is the most noble, agile, intelligent creatures in the animal kingdom. And you mess with one duck and you mess with the whole flock. And there's also this big whole misunderstanding because, of course, there's got to be, where the team overhears him calling them losers, but he was just being sarcastic, and apparently 13-year-olds don't understand sarcasm, I guess.
But they do. The kids who get mad, that's one of those instances where it's like someone doesn't talk, and then therefore there's conflict.
Yeah.
We're just like, you said we were losers. And he's like, that's not what I meant. And then he says nothing else.
Oh, wait, I'm puzzled by that.
This flummoxes me.
Oh, don't do that ever again. So we get to the final match, the championship, and it's against the Hawks. And the Ducks' rallying cry is quack, 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 and the Hawks' rallying cry is win, 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 because, I mean, we're really driving home the moral. And they take out Adam Banks right off the bat. Thank you for coming, Mr. Banks, to our team. You provided nothing.
They put out a hit on Adam Banks.
I mean, yeah, it was too. Goon
Kill
tactics. Him. Yeah. Take him out. Bob Probert, punch him. And during the course of this game, they unleashed the most unstoppable move hockey has ever seen, the Flying V. What do you think of the Flying V?
That's not practical. That is some Disney magic.
I mean, you can't just level anyone that comes near you.
No, you have you have to be onside
and play offside the whole time.
First.
Yeah, huh? Shit.
There's so many instances where like players are just knocking people over and holding them down. And it's like that would not happen.
Yeah, like half the players would be in the box for cross-checking or something. Like,
yeah,
there'd be a couple penalty shots, offsides, maybe some icing call. I don't know.
Lots of interference.
But I mean, in this instance, it cannot be stopped. And of course, they win the game and the underdogs win. And here's where it gets a little bit shady for me, because the moral of the movie, I think, is that winning isn't everything. Like that old cliche, it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. I mean, I think that's what the moral's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But as a morality play, the Mighty Ducks kind of fails a little bit because the team wins. The underdogs win and have a joyous celebration, and Gordon Bombay's entire life is made whole again because he finally won the big game. But his character's journey of self-reflection kind of caves in upon itself because all of his dickish, selfish behavior eventually led to his own ultimate redemption through the giant middle finger of a victory against his old coach. So who actually won the day? Did the bad guy lose, or was it just that the lesser bad guy won?
Yeah, I think they should have lost.
They should have lost. If the whole fucking moral of the thing is, let's go have fun, winning isn't everything, and if the other team's entire reason for being was to win, then you lose in the last second, and you still have your heads held high because you had fun, you came close, you weren't even supposed to get that far.
Charlie could have lost the exact same way that Gordon did.
Spazway could have spazzed.
And it would have fit the dialogue of this movie for Coach Riley to say something to Gordon like, "Oh, you're still a loser," and he could have been like, "No, I'm a winner now, thanks to these kids." Something like that.
Yeah, then, you're wrong. I finally learned how to win.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then,
I don't know.
And then, because this is a thing that happens often, at one point he takes the team to see a NHL game, and Mike Modano and his friend are like, "Hey, Gordon Bombay, I remember when you were real great when you were 10. You should join the NHL minors and try out, because you were awesome when you were prepubescent."
His friend?
Yeah, that's right, his friend.
Basil McRae, sir.
Who cares?
Current director of player operations for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Is he really?
Yes.
It's wild. I was a big hockey guy, and I had no idea who that was, but I recognized Mike Modano right off the bat. So.
Detroit Red Wings legend.
Sure. We'll go with that. Back when every all-star that ever was an all-star eventually passed through the Red Wings franchise.
Absolutely.
At the tail end of their career.
Put in 1 year.
You got one more stop before you retire, and that's Detroit. Put up 12 goals and go.
Are they in SAG now? Is that how that works? Do they get... Did Mike Modano get a check for like 25 cents?
Oh,
I watched this movie?
Mike Modano gets mad royalties off this movie, I bet.
Yeah.
God. The theme song at the end of this movie is "Winning It All" by the Outfield. The fucking Outfield, who I should tell you is responsible for my favorite song of all time, and I dare say the best song in the history of the universe, "Your Love" by the Outfield.
Oh, yes. Okay. Took me a second.
How dare you pause that long before it dawns on you?
You mean the Ninja Sex Party song?
Excuse me? I don't know the words you just said, but they did
a cover
wrong.
of it. It's a good cover.
Okay, I'll have to look that up, and I will probably roll my eyes and judge accordingly.
Just play it at the end. It'll be great.
I can't do that. I'll get sued. What did you think of the very first Mighty Ducks? By the way, we're an hour in. This is going to be the longest episode ever.
Oh, what an undertaking.
Yeah.
I remember when I said, hey, I'll come back and do the other two if you want. And you're like, no, we'll just do it once.
Right.
I like it. I guess I don't want to, I won't rank them yet, but it's a good movie. And I think even with the changes that we talked about that we would have made, I mean, it's still good the way it is. I still like it.
Do you think it still holds up? Do you think a, I don't know, 10-year-old would love this quite a bit?
I think so. I think if you don't live in Minnesota, you might not be able to get over the fact that, like, why is Pee Wee hockey so important? But there's enough character stuff, like you said. There's the relationship between Charlie and Gordon and Charlie's mom that drives a lot of it. So there's a little something for everybody, Randy.
Oh boy, yeah. Isn't
Really
that the
makes you
Disney
feel-
way?
Yeah.
I kind of
And like
feel
I said, plenty of Hans.
so much Hans. I kind of feel bad for today's youth. These youths of today, they don't have movies like this anymore. Like, you think of all the movies that came out in the 80s, like Back to the Future and The Goonies, and I don't know. You can even go as far as Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. They don't make movies like that anymore. They don't, if it's not a fucking franchise or a superhero, they don't give it a shot. And I kind of feel bad about that because nobody has an iconic movie franchise that they really can pin their hat on anymore. Like, sure, you love Iron Man, but it's not movie specific, you know?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is I was actually watching videos about these movies for research, and somebody mentioned that in the mid 90s you owned maybe like 10 VHS tapes.
True.
And you just watch them over and over, and if this is one of them, it's just going to stick with you for a while. There's just so much content. There's so many movies, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They don't stick like they used to.
That's a good point. You have endless options now. Back then, you were forced to just. What was let me stutter a little bit. What VHS tapes did you watch over and over when you were a youth?
Fox and the Hound.
Nice.
Interestingly enough, you mentioned Angels in the Outfield. Watched that all the time.
Nice.
At my grandma's house. God. I think we had The Lion King on tape. Bunch of cartoons, just like Bugs Bunny stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. My friend had D2, The Mighty Ducks. We watched that all the time.
Nice.
Yeah, it was mainly those few tapes.
For me, it was like Batman, 1989. Star Wars was always on holidays. It was on the USA Network all day. So, like, I remember Thanksgiving and Christmas it always being on at my grandma's house, just in the background. What else? Independence Day I had on VHS. I had like 2 VHS tapes. I had Independence Day and Jurassic Park. So that was like what I watched.
Nice. Yeah, I think I'm trying to think of more, but yeah, God, Angels in the Outfield all the time.
Yeah, I watched that quite a bit too. I didn't own it, but it must have been on TV. But my mom and dad went to the video store quite often. That was a thing people did, kids. They went to a video store and they rented movies all the time. They were cool like that.
Just sound like a couple old people right now. Yeah.
I mean, get off my porch.
Go to that video store, read the back of the tape, make a decision. That's what you do.
I mean, I don't know how we can sound like young people when we're taking arguably the greatest creation that's ever been handed to mankind, the internet, and using it to talk ad nauseum about 3 fucking movies about hockey created by Disney in their early to mid 90s. So, I mean, we're using God's greatest gift for the right reasons.
Yeah. Are we doing good? Are we the baddies? I don't know.
Yes.
You decide.
To cap off the first movie, Jordan Kerner, the producer, said, in spite of the cold, this comes from the oral history I mentioned earlier, in spite of the cold, we all love Minnesota, and they loved having us. Because of the effect the film had on them, they had so much pride about it, and they're all sort of hockey nuts, they passed something called the Mighty Ducks bill. I mean, let that pun settle.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. We shot in maybe 20 arenas while we were there, and they probably had 80 or 100 arenas in total. And they built like another 15 arenas so that they could accommodate all girls' teams. And it was an effort to mainstream girls into boys' teams. So the bill was something that created both new rinks and more coaches to help girls want to develop and become hockey players. So in Minnesota, to this day, girls all play hockey. They have the ability, anytime they want to be on a team, they're on a team. And that was because of the Mighty Ducks. It was really great being in a smaller city that was crazy about what you were doing. I ended up building a home in Minnesota, and my wife and I were married there. And the Mighty Ducks bill is still a thing that exists today, by the way.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Let's talk about D2.
Okay, let's do it.
I noticed this in the first movie, and D2 really, really hits this point home. You can tell that the Mighty Ducks team is a ragtag group of misfits because they have girls on the team and different ethnicities on the team, whereas every single team that they face otherwise, all white dudes with blonde hair usually.
Yep.
Like
That's something I didn't mention before, but the Oreo line, just some casual racism from the villains.
I was gonna point that out, but yeah, I completely skipped over. In the first movie, there is a there's no way this would ever be. This is in the very first game, and what's this? The Oreo line.
Yeah.
This isn't a Disney movie, by the way. There's no fucking way that would fly. Again, no pun intended. No way that would fly these days. It's awful. But every single team, I'm surprised that the Mighty Ducks didn't lose every game because the other team was so white they probably would blend right in with the ice, for crying out loud. And it's really hammered home in this movie, D2, which is kind of... it's the Rocky IV of the Mighty Ducks series, really. But since Russians were so over, they decided to be xenophobic against another country, and they picked Iceland.
Yeah, and I guess we're too friendly with Canada, so we won't make them the villains, but we also won't show them at all. So, yeah, so Iceland.
Yeah.
The bad guys.
The bad guys. It was during this movie that Michael Eisner decided that he wanted to buy a hockey franchise. And decided the Mighty Ducks made sense as a name, as excellent cross-promotion, because it already had brand recognition. Jordan Kerner, the producer of the movies, said, one day as we were doing the second movie, Michael said to me, we Disney, are going to buy an NHL franchise, and we want your designers to create a new logo. And they did that, and we did it. And they have this idea of a Jason mask, and we had the idea of crossing bones behind it as the sticks. It was a little bit more graphic than the image that we ended up with. They decided it was a little too gruesome and we needed to use the sticks instead of crossbones. And we all loved the Jason mask, and we did a version of the uniforms with all that on it in the District 5 colors, the green, gold, and purple. And Michael said, oh, no, we're not using those colors. So they got the sort of Miami Vice colors, he calls them.
That was a good decision.
Yeah, I think
much
so.
Cleaner.
But I think it's awesome that the production designers of the actual movie created the logo for the franchise.
Yeah, and that was great for the NHL too, because they're all about mainstream appeal.
Yeah,
and getting new fans. So yeah, I remember it being like very weird that they were actually in the NHL now, but it was a big deal.
Yeah. So the movie picks up with Gordon Bombay trying to make it in the minors. He's like right on the doorstep of the NHL, and then gets a nasty knee injury, and he's out. And it seems like some time has passed because Charlie's like, I don't know, 25 years old now, and
right.
Apparently,
he's got a family now.
Yeah, apparently his mom is married or something. I think they said.
I know. I was gonna say, like, at the end of the first movie, it's like everything's great, Charlie's mom found happiness. Gordon's always going to be there. And then in D2, they're like, oh, yeah, since she remarried. What?
Yeah. Like, was she too busy or like...
Was he too busy? There doesn't seem to be a lot of tension there either. Charlie's just like, hey, what's up, coach?
Yeah, I know. No big deal. I thought you were going to be my dad, but you're not my dad. But it's cool.
But you kind of are? I don't know.
Kind of are. Oh, boy.
And Yana's there now, too.
Yeah, not Han.
What happened there?
Good question. For all intents and purposes, they're the same person, though. So
that's true. Yeah, they're just a vessel for like the purest form of hockey ideals.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter. We just need a Norwegian guy.
We need some old man who can
sharpening skates.
Yeah,
we need an old man sharpening skates. Very important.
So Gordon kind of doesn't know what to do with his life. He doesn't want to be a lawyer. Why would he, and make all that money again? Plus, he learned all those life lessons, for crying out loud. Obviously, he wouldn't make the same mistakes again, would he?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get that. It's almost like he's like, I was so close to the NHL, like nothing else will compare to that. I don't know, man.
Yeah, this was his lost year. This was Gordon Bombay on unemployment. I'm just going to chill and figure myself out.
The year after high school. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to take a year off.
Just work at the store. It's fine.
He works at the store sharpening skates and, I don't know, doing whatever they do there. And some random man comes in and wants him to coach Team USA and take the Ducks with him.
What was his name? Tibbles? Was that his name?
Yeah, Mr. Tibbles.
Mr. Tibbles.
God. That's excellent. And my thing with this is like, what kind of scouting process did these folks really have? Like, I don't expect you to find the next Pee Wee Timu Solani, but maybe cast your net a little wider than taking the bulk of your team from one single city. Like, I know this one little spunky team showed a lot of gritty determination, and my God, they had heart for days. But there's a big world out there.
They're not very good.
They're not good.
Like, everyone else in the league was technically better than them.
Yes.
So I get why, even though I don't think Bombay's a good coach, I can see why they might want him, but maybe Charlie and Banks. But other than that, I don't know.
Well, and they did cast their net a little wider. They bring in some other players from around the country who all have like kryptonite. They're all flawed in some way. I'm like, that's the best you could. The one kid can't even fucking stop.
Yeah, Luis Mendoza, the best skater, just can't stop. Let's put him on our national team.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine him making any sort of hockey squad, no matter how well he skates.
And we got Dwayne, who I just wrote is Peyton Manning. That's just all I saw. The entire movie was Peyton Manning.
Dwayne is a big cowboy, and I think Dwayne, other than the knuckle puck, is the biggest thing I remembered from this movie.
Yeah.
There's a scene later in the movie where he fucking walks out onto the ice with a goddamn lasso and hog ties somebody.
And gets 2 minutes.
He doesn't even get thrown out of the game. And then I'm like, what the shit?
Yeah, this movie comes off the rails. I mean, I know we'll get there, but...
Yeah. Yeah. So Bombay kind of puts out the duck call and gets Charlie to rally the troops. And they rollerblade irresponsibly everywhere. Except not too irresponsibly. They're all wearing helmets and knee pads, you know.
Got to wear your helmets.
Yeah, and they're all awkwardly pubescent at this point. At one point, they run into some construction workers, and a man gets knocked into a wheelbarrow, and cement gets poured all over his body, so he's probably dead now.
Yeah, he didn't make it.
Some of the Hawks see the Ducks frolicking around, and they decide it's going to be... This is the bully thing I talked about earlier. They think it'd be a great idea to put up like a tripwire and like, I don't know, decapitate them. Yeah. So Fulton actually sees them because he apparently is a creep that lurks in the park at all times.
He's Darkwing Duck.
He is Darkwing Duck. You're right. He is the terror that quacks in the night. He sees them doing this, and he puts on a deep voice, and then, I don't know, sexually assaults them. He takes all their clothes off and ties them to a tree. Okay.
As you do.
As you do. We're off to a great start. So they take the Ducks across the nation to California, and we meet the other people. As mentioned before, we got Luis Mendoza, who can't stop. We got Peyton Manning.
Yep.
Dwayne, who's also called Hopalong Gretzky at one point, which I kind of loved.
That's a good one.
But he's the best puck handler anyone's ever seen.
For his age.
We have Julie the Cat, who's going to be the new goalie.
She should be the new goalie.
She should be the new goalie because Greg Goldberg's a big turd.
I just like when they pick up Goldberg. I forgot to mention this. His parents just have a picture of him at the deli, and it just says, "Our son, the goalie." I thought that was so sweet.
That is sweet.
It warms my heart every time.
Why aren't those
Julie's
motherfuckers in Philadelphia yet? What happened there?
Yeah.
Is your deli
Biggest
still
mystery.
Yeah. Julie should have been the goalie, but she's promised she's going to get a chance, and she never does until the very last scene of the fucking movie.
Yeah, she'll definitely get her chance.
Yeah.
I promise.
And then we have Ken Wu, who's a figure skater from the Olympics.
Yep.
Wow.
What's going on there?
He's
the new Tammy. Hey, I remembered someone else's name.
Good job.
Tammy's gone. Bring in Ken Wu.
Yeah. She was from the first movie. She was also a figure skater, and she did pirouettes. And that was about it.
Yep.
Did you ever watch figure skating when you were a kid? I feel like that was a big thing at a certain point because Tanya Harding was walking around clubbing people in the knee. So it was really exciting. Yeah. It was a real exciting contact sport. You think UFC is rough. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like a backstage attack at before a pay-per-view or something.
Yeah. It was like WWE, but real life. It's great. We also have the enforcer, Dean Porter, who's the biggest
Dean Portman, yeah.
What did I say?
You said Porter.
Oh, God. My bad, folks.
It's okay.
He's the biggest dude bro ever, and he forms the Bash Brothers with Fulton Reed.
Yeah, he's a 30-year-old man.
He is a 30-year-old man, and I can't believe the Bash Brothers wasn't copyrighted by Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco. I'm fairly certain it was, so I don't know. Well, it's Disney. They can get away with anything, I suppose.
That's true.
In the first game against Trinidad in the World Cup, did we mention that? They got recruited to be in the World Cup or Team whatever, their Team USA in the world something? I don't know.
The Junior Goodwill Games.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. Big time.
They go against Trinidad and Tobago, and Kenan Thompson's in the crowd heckling everybody the whole time.
He's a beauty in this movie.
Yeah,
I love him.
He's pretty great. And Trinidad, their uniforms, it's like they popped out of a Starburst commercial. They're like,
I want one of those.
They're all, they fell directly into a vat of Skittles and came out, and this is what you get. It's crazy. And then we see that Bombay is starting to sell out with endorsement deals and a pad in Malibu and interviews on CNN, and he's quickly becoming a scumbag again because we need to repeat the first movie because it was so successful. Let's just do it again, but with little different variations.
Yep, just a little bit of a tweak.
A little bit. People think it's brand new.
I don't know. The weirdest part of that first press conference is that the Hendrix Bear talks. I don't like that at all.
I'm sorry. Did it give you quite a fright?
Yeah. Mascot shouldn't talk. That's my hot take of the evening.
Man, the hottest take. After the first game, he meets the opposing coach for Iceland, whose name is Wolf the Dentist Stanson. Because Wolf wasn't a strong enough name. He had to have the nickname of the dentist.
Yeah, and you know how dentists, they knock people's teeth out. That's what they do.
Sure. And he looks like a villain that Arnold Schwarzenegger would have fought against in the 1980s. and some sort of he looks like some sort of mafia goon and not some hockey coach.
Yeah, I was thinking he could have been a diehard villain too.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Just the way he talks, it's perfect.
Yeah. We see Gordon Bombay participate in these other celebrity events. He's at a party with all these celebs. He starts pitching the Air Bombay loafer to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
For kids who want to coach.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the team is up to no good because they got no adult supervision. Kids going to be kids, you know? So the two Bash brothers are out on the town, and they're like, hey, man, no curfew's going to keep us in. The other one goes, yeah, ice cream. Because they're the bad boys. They're eating ice cream after bedtime.
Maybe it had rum in it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. And they see Gordon Bombay flirting with the Icelandic hottie.
Unforgivable.
Yeah. And getting ice cream with her. And you can't do that. That's the enemy. But she was pretty, so my deep question to you, Mr. Matty F. Did Gordon Bombay hit that?
No.
Oh.
I think because it's a Disney movie, there's no sex even off screen.
So it is like the first movie. He went to shoot a shot and he hit the goalpost. Fuck.
Yeah.
Doomed
That's why
to
they got rid
repeat
of
it.
Charlie's mom, just for that. Like, come on. We need another love interest.
Yep.
Got to have one every movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think I don't know.
No, I don't know. Probably not.
I know the Olympics are usually one huge orgy, but I don't know how about the Junior Goodwill Games.
Oh boy.
I don't know why I brought that up.
Don't ask, don't tell. Yeah. I don't know. The Velvet Hammer was talking about all the smooches she was passing out, so. The team loses, and Charlie bitches about it, saying this isn't very fun, coach, and who said it was supposed to be Charlie? You did,
What?
coach. That was the whole moral of the first movie, I thought.
Yeah, I was thinking of that scene where he's making them practice after their loss, and I just kept thinking of Miracle. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Oh yeah.
It's like that scene, but not good. Because in Miracle, the coach actually has a point, and in this one, I don't think Bombay knows what he's doing.
No.
I'm going to punish these children for having the audacity to lose.
You lost that game, you skate back and forth. That'll learn you. At this point, Kenan Thompson, who's been heckling them the whole time, sees the Ducks out and about and challenges them to a schoolyard street game of hockey. And it's at this point he unleashes the fearsome knuckle puck, which acts
Mythical.
Yeah, mythical, legendary even. It acts like a knuckleball, and it moves all over the place. All you have to do is set that sumbitch on its side and slap shot it.
Yeah, I like how those kids, their whole thing is they're like trying to teach them how to play hockey like the right way, the gritty way.
Yeah.
Go into the corners, work for every inch, no gimmicks,
Yeah.
You got to work hard.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, also, here is a gimmick. Here is my knuckle puck. I do like that whole scene with the street hockey. I don't know. I mentioned it earlier, like just like having things ground the story a little bit. And I don't know, I think they do a good job of that. I think those kids are better coaches than Gordon is. So
That's true. And I mean, it in all fairness, this movie needs a little grounding in reality because the rest of it is like highly cartoonish. And this was
and they do more with like race and representation that they kind of flirted with in the first movie. They do it here by just showing you, like when they're leaving and the one kid stays behind and says, "Go USA." Just that little moment. They're like, hey,
Yeah. He sees something in that team. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, they kind of embrace their Duck heritage because Gordon Bombay has another ice skating come to Jesus moment.
Yeah, that's weird. He does, but then he's late for the next game.
Yeah.
What happened?
I know. Did you get another DUI in the meantime? Is that what happened?
I don't understand. Like, he has the change of heart scene, and then he doesn't show up, and they have to have McKay pretend to be their coach.
Yeah.
This is why I harped on the sharpening skates thing earlier, because they talk about it like for the first 15 minutes of the movie over and over.
Right.
After this scene where he has his little moment to himself, he should have been there early, sharpening their skates.
And he wasn't.
He wasn't. Like Jesus washing the feet of the disciples. He should have been sharpening their skates, Randy.
Oh, man.
They mention it 5 times in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
He was looking stoically off into the sunset is what he was doing.
Yeah, there's like a deleted scene where like the alarm on his watch goes off and he's like, fuck. Runs and gets in his car.
He's like, I know what I'll do. I'll show up in that fucking crowd with a duck call and really blow the shit out of that thing.
Did he fly back to Minnesota to get the duck call? Is that what happened?
I mean, yeah, where do you get a duck call at that time of day?
In this economy.
Right? But you know, the Ducks are coached on by that duck call, and they form the flying V like they're Voltron in human form and really beat the shit out of that team. And meanwhile, Adam Banks is hurt again because he's a little weak-ass bitch.
Okay, listen, though, the way he got hurt, do you remember how he got hurt, though?
No, I must have missed it because all I remember is him in the locker room, like, bending his wrist.
It was in the loss against Iceland. He was like, they scored a goal, and he's like, hey, we got one, and he's pointing. And then a guy just comes up and just swings. Wait, or was that later in the movie? I don't know. Yeah, the guy comes in and just like double axe handles him and just like destroys his wrist.
Oh, but Adam Banks, he's all twisted up. He's only worried about scouts there watching him. And Gordon's like, well, I care about your well-being and safety. And there's lots of uplifting music and messages being learned. And since Banks is out, Charlie brings in Russ Tyler with his knuckle puck, and it's knuckle puck time. And yeah, good things happen.
Disney magic.
Yeah, Gretzky comes in for a gratuitous cameo.
Hey, Wayne's fine.
Mm-hmm. There's an epic hockey dick measuring contest when the dentist challenges Bombay to a game of, like, I don't know what that's called.
I think it was called 3-bar, something like that.
3-bar.
Yeah, you got to hit both posts in the crossbar to win.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, like if you don't have a goalie, I've played it before, and like none of us were ever good enough to hit the post, so we would just give up.
Oh, I was gonna say you're a real street tough out there.
That's right,
challenging folks to 3-bar. Whew, I underestimated
just my enemies.
You. Oh, just your enemies,
right?
Bombay is about to win the whole thing, and the dentist just slashes him across the bad knee because that's what villains do. And also, you know. Who actually won that? I think the dentist did.
Yep.
Because he comes off as a badass, and he still has both legs. So I guess
his hair is still immaculate, too.
It's just glued to his head. What, he got some lard in there? What's going on there? It's just slicked right down. I don't see any stragglers either. That's admirable. I don't know how you do that.
He's a professional.
He is, man. Later on, the fucking jerseys are finally unleashed.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd starts chanting, "We will quack you," because you haven't cringed enough while watching this movie. Oh, my God. We've got all sorts of shenanigans. This is where it just goes off the rails. I mean, it starts with the fucking lasso on the ice, and then old Knuckle Puck is disguised as Goldberg at one point, as the goalie. That
kills me every time. Like, they have a 1-minute timeout and they switch jerseys and goalie equipment.
Isn't Is that against the rules?
Yes.
Like, you can't wear another player's jersey, right?
No. And he scores from like his own blue line. He shoots that puck across the ice.
And it cracks me up because he said during that street game when they were all in awe of the knuckle puck that he acknowledges it's devastating, but it's not very accurate.
Yep.
Except he hits it from across an entire hockey rink, basically.
Yeah, like 150 feet.
Yes, it just sachets and gets enough wicked English to go just where he wants it to this time.
In full goalie pads, too.
Yeah, well, he's talented.
Absolute nonsense.
We've got a shootout at the end, and for the very last assassin from the Icelanders,
Gunnar Stahl.
Good old Bombay makes the call to put Julie in because she's got the quicker hands. And I'm like, does she? Because you haven't seen her play at all throughout the entire movie. So
yeah,
thanks.
All of her muscles have atrophied.
Yeah. Let's put the cat in. Okay, let's see. And of course, she gets her big chance to shine, and everything's all right with the world. And at the end, they're all sitting around a campfire while Averman sings the lead on Queen's "We Are the Champions." I mean, the 90s were a huge time for that Queen, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, every sporting event.
Yeah, "We Are the Champions." I think that "We Will Rock You" was in the first movie. Bohemian Rhapsody was monstrous, and Wayne's World. I mean, these movies are the only reason I knew what a Queen was. I forgot to discuss it earlier, but there's quite a few times. I'm pretty sure that this is where I got the terminology "sucks," like "this sucks," because they say it quite a few times in the original Mighty Duck. I think that's where I learned what that phrase meant.
This was your touchstone for things sucking?
I think so. I mean,
yeah.
And then I watched D2, and yes, indeed, I finally learned the meaning of suck. Because this one, I mean, it's all right. It's not as good as the first one at all. It's a lot goofier and
yeah. Like there's some good moments which I mentioned, but I think this one's not as good as the first one. I can't get over how wacky it is. Like you mentioned, Dwayne coming on the ice with a rope, and just like the Bash Brothers going insane and both taking misconduct penalties.
Right, yeah.
Kenny Wu going insane also.
Yeah, he becomes a little Bash Brother.
Exactly, and changing the goalie equipment. Yeah. All that stuff just makes me go like, whoa, that's too much, man. It's still good though.
Oh yeah, and yeah, there was that scene where he becomes a little Bash Brother by, this is the figure skater. He runs up to the goalie and starts getting in a fight with the goalie.
The goalie.
I mean, okay.
Yes, you do you, buddy.
Yeah. Like I said, this wasn't as great as the first. It definitely suffers from sequelitis. It's a cash in, and it seems like whenever there's a sequel, a lot of times people just don't know how to handle themselves. Like, just make a movie like the first one, but different.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They made this one goofier and wackier, like to appeal to a broader audience, I guess. But the first one's fine. They
did a good job raising the stakes, making it an international competition.
Yeah.
Just make it about that. You can still have Gordon like selling out a little bit too much and getting distracted and everything. But I don't know. I think they do well with these movies when they make it about the characters and just keep the hockey as close to reality as possible, because that's good enough. Like, hockey's a pretty interesting, suspenseful game on its own.
Which brings us to D3.
Quack harder.
Yeah.
Quack hard with a vengeance.
Yeah. Live hard and
quack hard.
Yeah. Yep. This is like Saved by the Bell the college years, I would think, except at first I thought they were in college because they all look like they're 35 years old. They're not. They are significantly older than they were in the second one, even though a few years have passed. They're definitely in their upper teens now.
Yeah, I think Charlie mentions that he's almost 15.
Yeah.
like his character is.
And I laughed out loud. I'm like, you are not. You are almost 18 years old at least. At the very
Varsity
least.
team.
Yeah.
Varsity team's in like their 30s too.
Yeah. So they're in their freshman year of high school, even though it looks like they're in their freshman year of college. I mean, the fucking cat looks like a grown woman now. I don't know what happened. Like, were all these kids on hormone pills or something? They're all so old.
Was that part of the boot camp? They got a little extra
Yes.
in their protein shakes.
Little HGH. And they're all at this Eden Hall Academy, and they're brought in to be the JV team, which is fucking wild to me because they were Team USA and shit.
That's true. That's a good point.
You would think they would be the top billing, but the varsity team is billed as like the most unstoppable team in the universe, and you're like, but these kids just won a gold medal or a trophy or a blue ribbon or something for the world.
Yeah, it was in their age group, I guess, but still, you would think that'd be good enough for them to be varsity somewhere.
Yeah. And right off the bat, you know this movie is going to stink real hard because there's a whole extended scene with a slapstick routine with Goldberg on runaway skates.
My God.
It was so stupid.
Oh, Jesus. Like, yeah, we got to have the rounding up the ducks scene. That's fine. We've established that.
Yeah.
Goldberg going backwards for like 3 miles.
For 3 miles out of control. Like, how steep was that hill where he couldn't just stop?
Or just fall on his face. Like, he says he's a bad skater, but he stays upright the whole time.
I mean, that takes some skill, yeah.
And then I wrote here, Charlie jumps over some garbage.
He does.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then 1 minute later, in larger writing, I wrote, Charlie jumps a fucking moving car. They jump off a 20-foot bridge and land. What?
Yeah, and when they land, the rest of the Mighty Ducks are there just pumping their little arms and skating along and, oh, hey, guys. Like, no
this
big
is
deal.
normal.
Yeah. Just another Tuesday. Yeah, and then they crash into the I don't know, inauguration ceremony, the orientation day, I guess. And
Yeah.
for whatever reason, Julie and Tyler and I think Kenny Wu are already there, and they're just sitting there like respectable teens listening to their dean. And then the other ducks
Keaton Thompson is on his best behavior or else his parents are going to kill him. So
yep. And the other ducks come crashing in, and somehow the entire team gets sent to the office. I'm like, well, Julie and Tyler and the others are just sitting there. They didn't do anything.
Yeah, they were trying their best.
They were trying so hard to be better people. You can't help it that Charlie Spazway is just a bad seed.
Just being a spaz. Yeah, and they the reason they're there is because they took other potential players' spots. So I don't know, man. They should already be not trying to cause a ruckus.
Mind your P's and your Q's, please.
Keep your heads low, you know?
Mm-hmm. Just show them what you're made of. Be ducks, yo. Gordon Bombay isn't going to coach. Emilio Estevez has top billing on this movie still, and he's barely in it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I am too. I mean, his character has no point to be here unless he was going to be coach.
Yeah, and Charlie's really upset about that too.
Well, tears. He's got to cry about something.
I don't know why he doesn't know this already.
Yeah.
It's like they were keeping it from him for so long.
He's never going to be your dad, Charlie. Get over it. Your dad's gone. God. No sense whining about it. Yeah, I think it's a good idea that Emilio wasn't in this because there's only so much skating around and learning lessons that he can do. Yeah,
and Coach O'Ryan's just a way better coach.
He is a better coach for sure, except at the end when he becomes a shit coach. He's like, here's a bunch of garbage, hit it. You got to clear the garbage from the net.
I thought that was great.
Okay, you would. Coach.
Gotta love a good montage, you know?
Oh, yeah. Coach Wilson is going to coach them. He's won 10 consecutive state championships for the school. So, I mean, they're in good hands, right? Who's in this movie? Oh, Michael Cudlitz from The Walking Dead's in this movie. He got his head bashed in by Negan in that one season.
It was that guy.
Yeah, he's the big bully of this one. The one that the Bash Brothers back body drop out of the fucking ice rink, through the glass and into the audience, and didn't get arrested.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, it was pretty great. I mean, stupid, but pretty great.
He deserved it. He took a run at him.
Coach Wilson's whole thing is defense wins championships. He doesn't want none of that knuckle puck or shotgun blasts, slap shots, or pirouettes or lassos on the ice. He just wants good old American hockey.
Good old fashioned apple pie USA hockey.
Yeah, that's right. Julie ends up winning the starting goaltender job in this movie, as she should have all along.
Yeah, because Coach Orion's a good coach.
And Goldberg is a huge dick and tries to sabotage her by like making her eat too much and shit. He's not a good friend.
Yeah, that's weird. That whole thing is just strange. Like, especially because she just falls for it. She's like, yeah, you need to carbo load. And she's like, I am an idiot. I will eat donuts now.
Oh, you all of them, because this fat kid said that I should. Charlie, I mean, since Bombay isn't in this movie, we need somebody with a love interest, so Charlie has to have one. He's into liberal Linda, who doesn't know sports, hates stereotypes, likes pizza, and loves Pantera, which is a weird blend of a person.
I gotta say, look, I don't want to get too political, but that scene where she asks him to sign the petition, like she said, because of the Warriors name,
right?
I think it's more about the logo than the name. But Charlie's argument is so rooted in that time. It's so funny to me.
Yeah,
his argument is just, I mean, there's other offensive names. I mean, Indians, and he just says all these other names.
The Indians, the Braves, the Redskins. What's the big deal?
Yeah, I don't know if she would want to talk to him at all after that. Yeah.
I mean, we live in a world where we have the Indians, the Braves, and the Washington football team now. So
exactly.
And I hope they continue to be the Washington football team forever, because that tickles my fancy.
It's so great. I love it.
Yeah. The Washington football team. Stick with it. And then he's really trying to impress her by saying he's on the hockey team. And he's like, you've never heard of the Anaheim Mighty Ducks? They named a whole team after us. So that's really meta. He drops that. And my thing is, why aren't these kids huge celebrities then? Why aren't the paparazzi there? Why don't they have like celebrity best friends? Endorsement deals?
In my head, I'm just picturing like her saying, wait, why?
Right.
And then them having to explain why. They just kind of drop it like, yeah, we won the junior Goodwill games. Yeah. And someone named a team after us.
Yeah. You would think like the entire campus would be in hero worship mode over them and like be like in awe of their presence. Like they
say they don't belong there.
Yeah. I'm like, really? You're a bunch of rich snobs. And what would be snobbier than getting an entire professional sports team named after you, after something you did? Like they should be right up your alley at this point.
Yeah. They're famous enough to get Paul Correa to visit campus. Like,
yeah, because you had to, right? You had to get some duck. And him or Timu Solani were the only two logical choices.
Yep.
And Paul Correa, I mean, no offense, Timo, probably could speak better English. So
yes,
that's what we got. So Coach Wilson is really trying to suppress all the quacks. He wants them to be Warriors, not Ducks, ever.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt, and you can cut this. It's Coach Orion.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why do I have Coach Wilson? Who the fuck is Wilson?
Wilson might be the varsity coach.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, fuck me. Maybe I should have brought up the D3 Wikipedia page. I fucking wrote Wilson over and over again. God damn it. That's a sweet-ass poster for D3, by the way.
That is. I want that.
Yeah. Oh, it is Coach Orion. Son of a bitch. And it's Coach Orion, like Orion the Hunter. Like in the sky constellation Orion. Not like Irish in a pub drinking all day Orion. Not O''Ryan. Not.
Yeah. I wrote it like the Irish pub, but yeah, definitely.
Well, maybe the Wikipedia page is wrong. But
no, you're right. Yeah. I'm just saying that's how I wrote it when I was taking notes. But
oh, yeah. How I'm going to clip that and replay it over and over on a loop. No, you're right. No, you're right. No, you're right. It's
be a drop for all your shows.
I mean, forever. Yeah, it's got to be. So the very first game is kind of like a scrimmage match against the lesser freshman Bear team or whatever they're called. And it's going to be a big deal because it's their new lucrative JV team. These famous celebrities that did so much. And all the school turns out and all the bigwigs of the school, the deans and the board members and whatevers are there. And sure enough, the Ducks just score at will with all their tomfoolery and shenanigans until Coach Orion is like, oh no, stop that nonsense. We need defense. And then it all falls apart, and it ends in a 9-9 tie.
Yeah, it really feels like they just never learned actually how to play hockey.
Which is hilarious because it's true. I mean, there's no defense in the other two movies, so it kind of makes sense that in this movie, that would be the flaw, I guess. I don't know. The thing that really bothers me about this movie, though, is after this initial scene, the hockey goes away for a good long time, and it becomes like it's like they wanted it to be like a wacky teen comedy, because it then becomes a lesser version of like Revenge of the Nerds or something, where the Ducks are out to pull all these pranks on the varsity team, and then the varsity team plays pranks back on them. It becomes this big prank war thing. It's like they wanted it to become a teen comedy instead.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because, like, my first impression was, oh, I like how there's less hockey here. But now that you mention it, yeah, it's weird. They're doing all this stuff that should get them kicked out of school.
Right, yeah.
I don't know. The magic is no longer on the ice, and it is now, like, just focused on pranks. Like, taking Brazilian fire ants out of their habitat.
Right.
And like potentially like injuring the varsity team.
Yeah. This will show them. We'll have these ants eat out their eyeballs.
Probably very expensive ants, or at least, you know, something you don't want to remove from the science department.
Probably not. Do you even know if they're venomous? Have you even checked? You don't have the internet, so you probably didn't.
Yeah, they didn't have Google.
No. All this culminates in a unsanctioned hockey match between the varsity team and the JV team, the Ducks. And the Ducks try to pull out the old flying V, and it doesn't work because your little duck tricks don't work at this level. And I'm like,
not in the lights out match.
I'm like, wait a minute. It worked on a worldwide stage against arguably more talented teams. They were befuddled and bewildered and possibly flummoxed by it. Hey. But let me tell you, when they go against the varsity team, this team of douchebag pricks, they're able to just break it apart easily.
Yeah, and I don't mean to nitpick again, but this movie especially makes it's very obvious just how few players the Ducks have. I don't know why, but in this movie it's so much more obvious that there's only like 10 players on this freshman team.
Yeah.
So it's just it makes it, I don't know, it kind of makes things look super weird.
Yeah.
Like, how many minutes are these kids playing?
Oh, about 45 a game.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
It'll do them good.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention at some point Banks makes the varsity team because he did something great at some point, but nobody's ever seen it. Like,
why is he good?
I don't know. Why is he good? Why is he in this movie? I can't tell you. He does nothing again in this movie. He does fucking nothing. He joins the varsity team, and then he goes back to the Ducks, and that's all he does. And there was like no big, like, I don't know, come to Jesus moment where he realizes the errors of his ways. He just gets kicked off the varsity team, and he gets lumped in with the Ducks. And he's like, okay, that was it.
I am back now.
Yeah, here I am. I am Adam Banks. I am with you now. Great. You're just going to get injured anyway. So Coach Orion comes in at this game, breaks it up because there's a big skirmish at the end. And he makes all the Mighty Ducks take off their jerseys and swear that the Ducks are dead, forsake their heritage, become warriors. Charlie refuses. Fulton Reed refuses. And then they go have a montage where they go hang out at the mall and skip
More
school.
run time.
Yeah. While the rest of the Ducks seem to enjoy getting a quality education. They're really in there learning.
Oh yeah, this is like after Charlie has the scene with Hans.
Yeah.
Where Hans is like very ill.
Yeah.
And Charlie's so into his own thing that he doesn't even notice.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, that's cool, old man, but I'm going to go eat mall tacos. So
Yeah. Hockey, having fun. It's only a letter. You're the heart and soul of the team. Whatever.
Yeah.
Go get chocolate dip bananas now.
Yeah. I got roller coasters to ride. While Charlie is grab assing at the mall, Hans fucking dies. Like, you could have been there, bro. You could have called the ambulance, but no, you had to have that chocolate dip banana.
The way Hans says goodbye, Charlie, when Charlie leaves, he knows he's dying.
He died as soon as Charlie walked out the door.
Absolutely.
He said goodbye, Charlie, and died the next second. That man was a corpse before Charlie ever even skipped down the lane.
While he was riding that roller coaster,
Right.
Hans was turning cold.
He was blue.
Oh, no. Hans,
who will sharpen our skates now?
Oh, God.
Meanwhile, the school board wants to withdraw all the Mighty Ducks scholarships because they don't like them. Because, yeah, it's never really established why they gave them Well, it's established why they gave them scholarships. It's never established fully why they just immediately want them gone after like 2 weeks.
Yeah, he says the dean says like the team's not performing. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, they had.
And
they had
like
one
I said,
game.
there's only 10 players on the team. There's room.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, they had one game and it was a tie. I don't think that's really. Yeah, I don't think that's a good gauge of performance, quite honestly. But okay. And Gordon Bombay comes in and he's a dick and he's going to be their lawyer and defend them. And I guess
Bombay's are legal like really like strategic legal argument is these contracts are contracts.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I am a lawyer.
Yeah. If you break a contract, you will go to court and I will keep you in court for years because these are contracts and you can't break contracts.
They are signed.
And the Coach Orion's like, he's good. And Charlie's like, fuck yeah, that's my dad almost.
He's just getting started.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, so Gordon Bombay has reverted back to his dickish ways. He's out driving Ferraris with Just Win license plates and chugging malt liquor. Great.
But he's using it for good. What did you think of the scene before that with Charlie and Bombay spending the day together?
Yes,
what did you think?
Bonding like
about
boys.
That?
Yeah. So Charlie wakes up and his alarm goes off at 6 a.m. and he's like, I didn't set my alarm. And there's a grown-ass man at the foot sitting on his bed saying, I set that alarm, Charlie. Well, that's creepy.
I would definitely notice someone sitting at the end of my bed as soon as I woke up.
Yeah, man. I've had nightmares about that shit. I've had sleep paralysis. Somebody creeps in my room, I'm up.
Yeah, he's this sort of sleep paralysis demon.
Charlie's had sleep apnea for years because of this moment.
Dude, I don't know if it's just because I have a daughter, but that scene with Orion skating around with his daughter.
Oh, got to you.
That got to me.
Got to your feels. Because
it had been however long since I watched this movie, and that scene came on, and I'm just like, aw.
Yeah.
Got a little choked up there.
Aww.
Hugged Allison a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. Did she watch it with you?
She watched it with me today.
Did she actually watch it though?
Yes.
Wow.
During the unsanctioned game, she was going, the bad guys. Just because she can tell, like, just how, by the way everyone's acting.
That is interesting. How old is she now? 4?
She's 3.
3, and she can pick up on the good and bad. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, actually, you know what it was? It was in D2, the Iceland players.
Okay.
Yeah, she could definitely tell. She was like the coach. She was like, bad guys.
3 years old and can pick up on the good and bad delineations. That's amazing to me.
Yeah. So hey, they did a good job.
Yeah,
and my
I
kid's
guess
smart.
so. I mean, keep it simple, right?
Yeah. But yeah, that scene got to me.
Or your child is brilliant, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, because because Charlie's like, that guy's a dick. And Bombay's like, well, but he's not, because look, he's a sweet boy. And he is. He takes his handicapped daughter out for a nice skate every day or something like that. And
he quit the NHL when his daughter got in an accident.
Yeah,
he says when the North Stars moved to Dallas, he stayed.
Yeah, he could have been a really big deal, and he decided to stay instead.
Good scene.
That is a good scene. It's probably, you know what? This movie, out of the 3, I know I've seen it before this, but this is the one I remembered the least. So I didn't remember that or anything, quite honestly. Well, I do remember the flying V not working. I remember that.
Yeah.
Because it was like this devastating moment. But that's the only thing I remember. Like, the flying V, no fucking way. That's the only thing I remember, though.
What about when, right after that, when Gordon says, I don't know how you're going to feel about this.
Oh.
When he says, I told him you were the real Minnesota Miracle Man.
Yeah. I'm like, Spazway is the heart and soul of the entire everything. Why? Because he cries a whole bunch? I don't get that. Like, he hasn't done anything. Quite honestly.
Yeah, he is because he's supposed to be.
The best thing he's ever done is give up his roster spot to an old knuckle puck in the second movie.
Yeah, I am crap. He can play for me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like there was this line in the comics, and Batman and Superman were having an argument, and Batman goes, "The last time you ever inspired anybody was when you died." Like, drop the fucking mic. And I feel that way with Charlie too. Like, the last time you inspired anybody was when you just gave up your spot.
Coward.
Yeah. Spazway. Yeah, that was a real emotional. I mean, we're gonna fast forward a bit to the fucking scene
That's fine.
The scene at the end of the movie where the Ducks win, because that's the moral. Winning is everything. And Charlie looks up, and Gordon Bombay is standing there. Like, everyone else is like black and white, and he's in full color.
No, he's a ghost. He's dead too.
He finally died. That malt liquor and driving got to him. He went off a cliff But he's standing there, and he's got his eyes are shrink wrapped in tears, and he's just nodding approvingly. And Charlie's like, "Daddy?" And then he's gone. It was all a dream. Because every male figure in Charlie's life will always leave because he's Spazway.
It's his cross to bear.
It is his cross to bear. So they finally, the Ducks fight the Warriors in the big JV versus varsity scrimmage, and this is their chance to be like, we're the mighty Ducks. And the coach, after he lets them hit trash around, allows them to be Ducks. He does. He dumps out trash on the ice. He's like, this is how you play defense. You got to get trash from around the net. And then they go to the game, and they're like, oh, yeah, this reminds me of that time I hit that fry carton away. Because that's the Mr. Miyagi approach to hockey. Just weird shit you don't think's going to come in handy.
That's right.
Wax on, wax off. All of a sudden, you're a hockey sensei. You know what to do. So he allows them to become Ducks again. He gives them their jerseys, and they're like, yes, Ducks fight with honor. And they do the match, and it's looking really, really dire, just the situation. Like, how are they going to get through this? Because they're getting their
5-on-3.
Yeah, they're getting their asses beat because these kids are bigger and fighting them. And all of a sudden, old Dean comes back. He was the only holdout. He's like, yo, bro, my lawyer came, said I should sign this contract. It's time to fight some motherfuckers. And so he joins the team, and finally they have an enforcer to go with the other Bash brother.
Denis Ex Machina.
Yep, exactly. And they start just, I don't know, injuring people for life is what they're doing out there.
Yep.
They're just massacring people. Scars for days. And that's all it takes. The Mighty Ducks win. And one of the caveats, if the JV team won, they would officially be redubbed from the Warriors the Eden Hall Mighty Ducks. And that's what happens. All is right in the world.
Yeah, and someone says Bombay. Like, wait, did he hear the kids trash talking? And then he's like, verbal contract. Yeah. I'm drawing this up.
Yeah. Right. He's like everywhere a hockey puck is, Gordon Bombay will be there.
He's the new Hans. He got Hans's powers. I think that's what it was.
He can sharpen a skate like no other. He's like the Obi-Wan of the franchise now. That's what Hans was.
Oh, yeah, he really was.
Yeah, or maybe Yoda. And Gordon Bombay.
Maybe.
Gordon, he was Zordon, yeah. Gordon Bombay was Luke Skywalker. And then Charlie wishes he had a Darth Vader, but there ain't no father there, so sorry.
Sorry, bud.
Sorry about your
never
luck.
get to see his new stepdad either.
No, I know. Like, his mom is in the third movie, and stepdad isn't there, so how's that relationship?
He probably left too.
Yeah, probably. Did you force them together on a date? You'd be like, hey, hook up with my mom. Go kiss her and stuff. Wow.
Being mean to Charlie.
Yeah. I can tell you D3 I kind of hate quite a bit.
Interesting.
Yeah. I didn't like it that much.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just too into melodrama. So like one or two scenes where I'm like, oh, that's sweet, can just like make the whole thing seem better to me.
You strike me as a boohoo emo poet.
Yeah, I am. Like pretty much anything, as long as it's a decent story, will make me like emotional. Like even if it's not sad.
Yeah.
So,
great.
I'm pretty easy to please, but I still think this one's better than 2 at the very least.
Do you really? Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, we might fight over this.
1, 3, 2.
I like 1, 2, 3.
Fist fight.
Yeah, let's go. Let's play 3-bar. Settle.
Right.
The
Watch
cast. What are they up to? So, of course, Emilio Estevez went on to be Emilio Estevez, and he was in a bunch of movies. Well, not that many, quite honestly. Like, he kind of disappeared in the 2000s, and he hasn't done a whole lot. So, I mean, At a certain point, I guess you don't need to if you're Emilio Estevez, right?
That's true.
Good old Charlie there. Charlie Conway, Joshua Jackson. He went on to star in, what's that fucking show? Dawson's Creek, where he played Dawson's best friend, Pacey Witter. And he's not the best friend you've ever seen because he steals Dawson's sweetheart. So what a dick. He was also in the show Fringe, which I never saw. He was in a bunch of movies like The Skulls. You ever see The Skulls?
No.
He was in Andre, that SEAL movie. No? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much anything you say, I'm going to say no, I haven't seen.
He was in Scream 2 briefly.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure I've seen that.
He was in Urban Legend, Cruel Intentions. He was in all those teen 90s movies, really. Let's see, who else? Marguerite Moreau, who played Connie the Velvet Hammer. She was in Wet Hot American Summer. Made various TV appearances. Fulton Reed, I said, was in Daredevil. Matt Doherty, who played Averman, he didn't do a whole lot afterwards.
Hey, he was on Boston Public.
He was on Boston Public.
And he looks like the third Sklar brother. I'm telling you right now. I'm looking at him right now. He could be a Sklar brother.
He could
That's
be.
awesome.
Julie the Cat went on to become a famous chef. She was on the reality show The Next Food Network Star and has her own food-related website and blog. So good for her. She kind of left acting behind to do her own thing, which is great.
Yeah.
Kenan Thompson, of course, went on to be on Kenan and Kel and all that on Nickelodeon.
Oh, here it goes.
He was in Good Burger and Fat Albert. He was Fat Albert, for crying out loud. It doesn't get much better than that.
That's true.
He's also the longest running member of SNL. He's been on there for fucking ever, since 2003, so good for him. Poor Goldberg. Greg Goldberg, Shaun Weiss. Have you seen this Shaun Weiss?
I feel like I heard he's doing better now, but
he got himself a nasty meth habit, and there was a mugshot running around a few years ago in which he's just the worst possible shape he could be in, it looked like.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. Childhood stardom. I mean, can be a bitch there.
As of September, he's doing better, though.
Oh.
So, 230 days sober, looking good.
Man.
So keep it up, Shaun Weiss.
Are you his sponsor? How do you know this?
Yeah, he calls me every once in a while.
Well, that's cool.
I just chant Goldberg at him. That's enough.
I can see that. Oh, boy. So we have this Disney Plus thing, and Disney has to put all their stuff on it, and boy, do they love franchises and name recognition. So, of course, the Mighty Ducks is coming back as a Disney Plus show, and Emilio Estevez is coming back as Coach Gordon Bombay because he ain't got shit else to do, right? His statement in an interview with EW, entertainmentweekly.com, once a duck, always a duck. And after 25 years, I am delighted to lace up my skates, put on Coach Bombay's jacket, and return to play the iconic character for this new chapter in the Mighty Ducks franchise. Iconic character. It's a bit of a stretch, I'd say.
Hey, I mean, it's all about perspective.
Yeah. Here's what's interesting, though. Here's the official description for the series. In present day Minnesota, the Mighty Ducks have evolved from scrappy underdogs to an ultra-competitive powerhouse youth hockey team. After 12-year-old Evan is unceremoniously cut from the Ducks, he and his mom, Alex, set out to build their own ragtag team of misfits to challenge the cutthroat, win-at-all-cost culture of competitive youth sports. So the Ducks have become the Hawks in this version, which is weird.
Wow. They became the thing they hated the most.
I mean, see? We're too focused on winning and forgot about the fun. That should have been the moral of the damn series. They should have lost that first championship game and none of this would have happened. God damn it.
I have a new headcanon now.
We can write our fan fiction all we want.
It's perfect.
Yeah. All right, Matthew. This has been fun, but it's been goddamn almost 2.5 hours of this nonsense. Where can people find you on this worldwide web?
Hey, man, just search for Flummoxed. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, any of those podcast apps.
Oh, wherever you can.
At Matty Flummoxed on Twitter. At Probably Greppo, my co-host Garrett.
Hey.
Check us out. It's fun stuff.
Wherever you can snag a cast, you can find that one. As well as Miserable Retail Slave, my big dumb comedy show. Oh, should we drop the bombshell about what we're going to do? We're still doing it, Matty F.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that. Drop that bombshell, D-boy.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Me and Matty F are going to do a podcast, a Seinfeld rewatch podcast. And I think that's probably going to happen. We'll probably record some episodes, I don't know, next month, but probably won't drop until the first of the year because it's no man's land in December. But yeah, so it's going to be a podcast about Seinfeld, and we're going to go in intense, as you can see, intense detail and tangents about every episode of Seinfeld. I think it'll be fun, don't you?
Oh, it's going to be a blast. I'm very excited. I've already started researching, so.
Oh, I love it. I love the dedication. I love the passion.
I'm ready.
You're a real winner.
What is Seinfeld?
Nothing. Okay. We're going to, I don't know how to end this now. This was fun. We'll do another thing sometime. Plus the Seinfeld thing. Check out Flummoxed. Check out Miserable Retail Slave. And we'll see you next time.
Quack.